Well, hello, I am Priya Rao with the Social Herbivore for Vine Roots, and I am so pleased to have as my first on-camera guest, Sherry Karlo. And Sherry is the vintner and owner of Karlo Estates right here in our backyard in Prince Edward County. I'm also very proud to call her a dear friend. So welcome, Sherry. It's so great to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for asking me. And what an honor to be your very first.
Yes, it's always good to have you as my first. In fact, there are so many reasons why I wanted to speak to you first as I start this sort of series of profiles of folks in the vegan wine world. So let's just count some of them off. First of all, you were the first winery that I ever hosted a vegan food and wine event in Toronto with. And I believe that was the first vegan wine and food pairing event in Toronto, almost 10, maybe 11 years ago. So we were ahead of the curve. We've known each other for a long time. And more important than any of that is that you are the first vegan certified winery, not only in Ontario, Canada, North America, but in the world. So there's a lot of firsts here to celebrate.
Yes, we're very excited. We're the first to get our wine certified vegan, and we took it a step further in order to have our collars match our cuffs. Everything that we do at the winery is vegan. So our vineyard practices are vegan, our packaging is vegan, all of our menu choices are vegan, although you wouldn't know it if we didn't point it out. And even my partner Sax and I are vegan. So we're as vegan as it gets.
Exactly. You're pretty uber vegan, which I really love and respect. And I want to ask you first and foremost, what was the driving factor for you to make Karlo Estates the first vegan certified winery in the world?
Well, one night, there's not a lot to do here in the county late at night. The sidewalks kind of roll up at least 9 o'clock. So I was surfing the internet, just looking around at things, and came across a video on how animals are treated in slaughterhouses. And I was so appalled that angry. I realized there wasn't much I could do to change the world, but I could change myself. So at that point in time, I announced to my late husband, Richard, that I would no longer be drinking wine with him because I found out that wine wasn't always necessarily vegan. And he just wanted me to drink with him. So he set out to prove to me that he'd been making our wines vegan since 2008. And it was actually Richard, with his engineering background from doing so many kind of quality assurance certifications for his previous business. It was his insight to say, you know what, if it's that important to you, it's going to be that important to other people. So let's go ahead and get certified. And so we researched both in the United States and Canada for a certification body. And we thought, well, we're Canadian, let's support the Canadian body. So we contacted VegaCert, and they assured us that we were the first winery to certify our wines vegan through them. So it was really for the love of the animals.
Yeah, as is everything you do. And just a little side note, when you go visit Karlo Estates, which you absolutely must, because it is such a unique experience. You are speaking right now from your wine lair, and that is the coziest room in the wine world, I think, anywhere. It's just full of all these amazing antique sofas, and I just love it. I feel like I'm in the court of Louis the 14th or something. You have amazing events there. I've hosted some events with you there for the Social Herbivore, and it's just a very relaxing, cozy way to enjoy wine country. But when you do visit, you will also notice that there are lots of animals around Karlo Estates, especially some new kittens to add to the famous little bug. So how are the kittens doing?
They are good. They are becoming teenagers and just, causing havoc. I think they're making all the other cats feel old because they're always constantly fighting and basically bouncing off the walls. So they're having lots of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to visit and to have a little bug come and say hello, and the other cats too. So it is truly an enjoyable and memorable experience to be at Karlo. But let's pick up where you were saying that Richard had the foresight to see that if it was important to you to know that your wine was vegan, that it would be important to others. And fast forward to 2019, when The Economist referred to it as the year of the vegan, and now here we are in 2022, the whole idea of vegan wine has exploded. I think for
Mhm.
you and I, especially for you, because you were doing this way back when, but even for myself, having been doing this for over a decade, we have seen sort of a very slow climb, and then all of a sudden the roller coaster went up.
Yes. It's I think that's partly also because people are concerned about sustainability.
Yes.
And one of the great things about shifting to a plant-based way of eating is you can actually reduce your carbon impact by 70%. And the United Nations said the number one thing we can do to help battle climate change is to adopt a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
So for me, it's definitely because of the animals first and foremost. My partner Sax is an avid environmentalist, and for him, the trying to be a good steward of the land and be responsible and try to do our part, to
Absolutely.
make the world a better place, basically.
There are so many reasons people choose to be interested in plant-based food and or plant-based wine. And you've pointed out the two of those, the environment and sustainability, as well as for the animals. It's also for your health. A lot of people do it for the health. And
Mhm.
then there's also for the taste of it. I have spoken to many, many winemakers who have said that using vegan-friendly practices actually result in a cleaner, more authentic tasting wine.
Yeah, that's actually a feedback that we get from wine critics and writers consistently, is that our wines taste very clean on the palate and that they're very fruit forward. And our winemaker, Derek Barnett, who's considered one of the best winemakers in the country, he's not vegan himself, but he's happy to use these practices because, he believes that he likes to be non-interventionist, and basically his job, he feels, is to keep the wine on the rails and just shepherd it to a finished product. So when you're doing it from a plant-based point of view, there's less erasers in your toolbox to fix any mistakes. So
Yeah.
you have to do it right the first time. And as a result, you do have a much more authentic taste of the terroir and a cleaner taste profile with the wine. And we even get people saying that they get less headaches. Now, wine taste and wine experience is subjective,
Right.
but we have a lot of people saying that they're not getting as many headaches from our wine. And they don't know if that's because there's no allergens in our wine, like isinglass, which is fish swim bladders and scales. There's no
Delicious.
casein, powdered milk. There's no egg whites. And of course, there's no ground up animal parts as a protein. So if you have any allergies to those types of things,
Mhm.
those might be the things that are giving you a hangover from your wine rather than the traditional thought of sulfites or tannins.
Yeah. Thanks for noting that. That's really important because oftentimes people who are looking for vegan friendly wines, as you say, it's not necessary. It might be from a dietary perspective. People
Mhm.
need kosher wines for religious reasons. There's so many reasons, to look for these kinds of wines. Let's talk about one of my favorite things, food and wine pairing, and tell us what you serve in your tasting room.
Well, we have traditionally always done food pairings with our wine, but when I turned vegan, pretty much overnight, we switched everything from, we were doing cheese and charcuterie, so I switched everything to plant-based. So we do, one of our most popular items on the menu is our picnic plate, we call it. It's basically cheese and charcuterie, but everything is dairy free and plant based. So we're serving dairy free cheeses from companies like Zangari, Vegan Stokes, Wandering Deli,
Yeah.
cashew wines, cultured, all sorts. Like there's so many fantastic dairy-free cheese alternatives now that are made locally by artisanal producers that it's really easy. Another great one that we're just starting to work with now is the Green Goddess as well. So we're doing that. And then for our charcuterie side of it, we're working with Sausage Party in Toronto,
Yeah.
and she makes my all-time favorite salami
Oh
style
yeah.
seitan. Absolutely fantastic. And quite often we have people try it and then someone in the group will say, did you know that that's vegan? You're eating a vegan sausage. And they're like shocked because they can't tell the difference, which is really
Yeah.
great because it's nice that you can have something that's, plant-based, but not feel like you're missing out. It's might not be exactly the same, but it's definitely delicious. So it's a
Absolutely. And
real,
that's what we're all about here at the Social Herbivore too, is a FOMO-free dining and wining experience. And that's definitely what you're going to get when you head to Karlo Estates. I also really love that all the proprietors you work with are local, because we're big on supporting local and our farmers and our, small business owners. And most of those companies that you have mentioned, because I know them well, are female owned. So yay to that too. And, I want to just thank you for taking some time. I'm going to ask you one last question before we call it a wrap. And that is, with vegan food and wine exploding, what do you foresee, let's say 5 years from now?
Well, we are moving into shipping nationally. We just got picked up by the Opimian Club, and we're really proud to say we're only the second Canadian winery to be represented by the prestigious Opimian Club. And we're now starting to put out feelers for getting into the United States. So
Amazing.
5 years from now, I see us having our vegan wines at least throughout North America. And, we have had places like Denmark and England and India and China and Japan knocking at our door. We've had our wines in some of those places periodically. So in 5 years, I could see us distributing worldwide. That would be a nice thing.
Well, I would love that. I would love to tell my relatives in India to pick up a bottle of Karlo Estates wine. And I had 2 bottles in my cellar. I should have brought them here to show them, but I'm just so delighted to have had this time to chat with you. And definitely, if your love of wine takes you traveling in Ontario wine country, then you will want to include a stop at Karlo Estates on your vine route. So thank you so much. It's a beautiful winter's day here. They are open throughout the year, and you can always have delicious and fabulous experiences there, winter, spring, summer, or fall. Sherry, Karlo, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.